All right, I am live with Adia Callahan today. My name is Stacey Alden. Welcome to my YouTube channel. As you may have read in the advertisements and intro for this video in this interview, we're talking about all about musicality and how music can add value to your class. And Adia is the queen of teaching to music. She brings the energy. It's not a distraction. It's timed perfectly. We'll get into that in more detail soon, but it can make your class level up so much more. And I feel like it's becoming a lost art, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so it's something that Adia has held on to and is such an expert at that I'm excited to ask her about it today. But first, let's get to know Adia a bit more. She is a fitness teacher, a trainer, a Pilates instructor who is also the CEO of See Me Wellness and the creator of a podcast. It's an awesome podcast called Sweaty Edges. I think it has the best name as far as the podcast too, by the way. Sweaty Edges, about educating and encouraging Black women on how controlling their fitness benefits them while tackling hurdles real and perceived. And as I mentioned a second ago, she's obviously an expert in the fitness industry. She's doing all of the right things. And when it comes to teaching specific group fitness classes, she brings music to the table that adds such a great experience. So my first question for Miss Adia is, if you could provide us with some examples of classes that you've brought music into and used it to create more energy or less energy, and what formats that you might have added to that people may not consider to add music to in general.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you, Stacey, for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure to do this, especially when we're talking about music. A real short disclaimer, I was in the band from elementary school all the way into college. So by default, I can only move in the beat of the music. So that's where a lot of it comes from. But to answer your question specifically, I play music and then teach with musicality just about any format that I teach or train with. I actually, even with the clients, if we have music in the background, I actually try to incorporate music subtly into the workout, especially if a client has started to make that gains where their body and their minds are really starting to connect with the movements. And it's a really nice, it's a nice icing on the cake type of situation to be even in a personal training or a one-on-one type of moment with their client, and to have them time out the movements with the beat of the music and to have them finish as the music is finishing up that frame. The clients actually feel it. They might not know what's going on, but they can actually feel it and they can respond to it subconsciously. So that's the long answer to your very short question. So everything has music.
It can. And I love how you say kind of in the learning process, because initially when someone's just learning to move their body a certain way, it's like you're lucky enough to time anything right.
Like, yeah, like go to the right, go to the left, all that good stuff. Are we mirrored? I don't even know which way right and left is anymore on the virtual space.
I know. Or what they're seeing, right? That can be different. And so, yeah. And then once you pair that music with it, they are identifying, oh my gosh, I have not only control over my music or over my movement, but I have control over that timing and that energy. And I've seen you bring it to your TRX class, which is difficult, but really great because people can start to go too fast almost in TRX.
Yeah, so it's a subtle art in the sense of if you take a step back, there's two things when because I used to teach musicality for some companies that I work with. You want to think about music in the frame of fours. So if you keep it down to the base level of 1, 2, 3, 4, that is your foundation when it really comes to music. So if you can get that underneath your belt, that if you're teaching a class, you want to break it down to the basic number of 4, that's the lowest common denominator, then you can build a class around that number so you can break down movements into that number. So let's say, for example, you want to do a squat jump, right? You can set up that squat jump, which in a lot of different strength training or HIIT classes, that's pretty common, a common movement pattern. You can truly set up the squat jump in a 4, whereas the standing is 1, the 2 is the squat, 3 is your explosion, 4 is your set, your reset, or some variation of that. But once you get that underneath the belt, it doesn't even matter anything else outside of that, because you now have built your movement pattern around that 4, and then it allows you to build on. So when you teach it that way, then the members, your clients, the participants, whomever, they can start to pace themselves. And then they know they have the autonomy then to speed it up and to slow it down based off of their personal needs. But you've already set the framework right there. And also what it does is it can help create patterns in the mind where they don't have to worry about, am I fast? Am I slow? They don't have to worry about tempo. They can really concentrate on form because you've already set it for them. And then 2, in that, you want to think about your beats per minute, right? So not having a class where you want them to get their heart rate up. Do you want to have a slower beats per minute so when they do go to tempo, then they're still under control? Or do you want to start off fast and then you don't really have anywhere to go? So I think those 2, the quad center, I don't know what they call it now, but the 4 count. There's 4 counts. And then the beats per minute or BPMs is something that as an instructor, it sounds like a lot, but it really is easy to do once you incorporate that into your planning process.
Exactly. Those are awesome. And then, yeah, it can work for really, I would say, trying it in multiple formats you may not originally have thought. Like, the 4 can work for Pilates. It can work for, like you said, HIIT training, cycling. TRX, like I said earlier, I loved it. I love how Adia does it in her TRX class. So if you're a TRX instructor, really consider this because it helps her, like she said, control the tempo she wants them to be at. And then she'll layer really, really well, which actually should be another interview in itself. But layering movements. We'll save that.
Okay.
But the music pace really helps her layer well for the participants. So they feel successful, but they're also able to still do complicated movements.
Right.
Normally they wouldn't be able to build on without that.
Right. So then, sorry.
Yes. No, you're fine.
Yeah. So then, and it's something where it's complicated. So I'm the queen of multi-joint exercises like that. That is like my game. I enjoy it. I believe in it. That's where I want to be at for my jam. But in that, I wouldn't have, so let's say, I don't know, what's the average now, Stacey? I haven't been keeping up with the average beats per minute per classes. So like, let's say 125 is like an average strength training class beat per minute. If I was teaching something complicated, I would theoretically want to go to a song that may be a little less than 125, like 115. And that way I can teach it at a slower pace. And it's still, one, as an instructor, I know I have control over the way I'm presenting it to the participants. But 2, for those who want to take it up to tempo, they can do that, maintain it, be successful. And then those who want to go a little faster than tempo, they still have that opportunity because you didn't start off at like a 140 or something super fast and crazy like the techno beats. Sometimes I do utilize those beats. But then again, it allows the participant to have a sense of, this is me, this is where I want to be at, this is where I feel in control at. And then that level of success is always kind of built in for them through you as an instructor or the trainer.
Exactly. That timing, that control, and that ability to find success is so great. And then what have you found? Why have you found that adding music, or I guess moving to the beat of the music specifically, rather than just background noise?
Right.
Why has that added to the experience?
One, I can't help it. I really can't. I really can't. I can't help it. Like if I'm not at the top of the frame, then it throws me off. If I'm off, then I have to stop the class, take a break, and
Yeah.
3 and count down to get.
Yeah.
But truly, Stacey, it's a really sexy feeling. Really,
Yeah.
it is. It is, especially when you, as on the personal side, when you're looking out and you can see everybody squatting in tempo, and it's good form, because form is more important, and they are feeling good, and then everybody kind of ends. And so with music, there's crescendos, decrescendos. So you build up in tempo, you build up in volume, you build up in sound. So just think like how amazing it is when you're in class and you just finished teaching a movement pattern, and then we're putting it all together. We're at a good tempo for the most part. Most of the participants, the clients, are really hanging in there. They're feeling good. And then the music is increasing the volume. And somebody is belting out these tunes, or the volume is just increasing, and you're counting down and you're increasing with them. You're leaning in and you're just going and 4 more, 3 more, 2, and the music stops right there.
And that was the example.
Right?
I felt
right?
it. I was like, just pop out.
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
it's so hard to deny that. They feel good, right? Because they knew they were working hard, right? Because you've been training them throughout the class. They hear that tempo, they hear that beat, and they're, whether or not they can keep it, it's okay, right? That's not how we as instructors really go at it, right? We want to know that we're teaching safe and we're teaching good form, and they're enjoying what and feeling accomplished, right? Mm-hmm. But you're still teaching them to hear it subconsciously, right? It's in the back of your mind, and they may not understand it, but they understand that when you say done and the music cuts off at the same time, and you're like,
yeah, it's the best.
It is. Yeah. Look, I'm sliding off my chair, excited.
See, I know. We need music playing right now. What are we doing? What kind of interview is this? Oh my gosh, yes. It's so true. And it makes the class, I sometimes feel like it makes the class just go by so quick.
It does.
In a good way. It's not like there are those classes we've all been in where we're like, okay, oh my gosh, like looking at the watch kind of thing.
Right.
But no, if it's really that layer of experience of the music moving together, like you said, it's priceless.
Yeah, it is. And it really helps. I think it helps you as an instructor, right? I don't know how many times, I think we all have done this. You write out a class or a plan, and maybe you didn't really test out the feasibility of that movement pattern, right?
Yeah.
And so then you get there and it doesn't quite flow. You can make it work, right? You can totally make it work because you're a professional. This is what you do. They're happy because they're moving, they're getting strong, what have you. But in the back of your mind, you're like, that didn't really work. I didn't have my transitions. I didn't have that moving. But if you go back to that 4s, if you could break it down to that 4s, then you as the instructor really have already set yourself up for, especially those complicated patterns, right? Like you have set it up so that I need a 1, I need to do something at 2, 3, 4, and then from there you can repeat, you can change, whatever, but you at least have that set up. So then if you don't have time, or you didn't try it out, which I don't recommend that, Stacey. I think you always should.
Yeah.
At least walk it through. But anyway, whatever, you don't have the time, at least you can have some sense of confidence that you can mesh that in with the music, regardless of the beats. You just have to worry about the tempo. Totally.
Yeah, I can really add to that. Like you said, kind of make up for what you might not be ready for. We're not perfect. We're not perfect. And then we kind of touched on this, but not, I guess, in 100%, but in all detail. But if you're an instructor who's like hearing this and is inspired to try to teach to the music, but you're like, I have 2 left feet, I can't dance. That's an excuse a lot. You do not have to dance to teach to the beat of the music. Then there are people who have the advantage, right? Who've had dance experience or have been in a band, but you can, if you have a heartbeat, then you can feel the beat. So so what are some ways that you say people can work on it or start to find it? And the 4 count's really helpful.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing. We used to teach people, take your favorite song and pat your toe to the beat. So what you're doing is you're listening for the downbeat, right? So I think maybe we should just start defining a couple of things. Excuse me. One is we already talked about a phrase. So there's 2 sets of 4, says the 8 count phrase, and beats per minute. Well, within that phrase, you have beats, down beats, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2. And so what you're looking for is essentially the pattern in the music. You're not listening for the words except for explicit content. But what you're doing is you're listening essentially for that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the tempo again can change, right? But you're looking for the pattern. And then you as an instructor, as you're learning, can you stay in line with pattern? Can you stay in line with beats? And what you're training yourself to do is to hear, right? And to feel. And that's, I think, is the way to do it. Some people are tappers, some people are light clappers, some people are toe, whatever you want to do, nodders. But you take your song, an instrumental is actually better, and then you find the beat. And if you could jam out to that for a little while, then that's meaning you're starting to develop your musicality. And when I was coming up in group fitness, if you taught group fitness, you were supposed to teach on the beat.
Yeah. And not anymore, really. It's kind of, it's becoming more and more lost.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it mattered. It did matter, beats per minute. And you had to understand it went into the bigger scheme of building out your class. But to get back to it, if you get you a good song that you enjoy, and I think a lot of people do this, they don't realize it. You can see them jamming their head to, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's musicality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's you. Now you may be on the offbeat, so it's the odd numbers: 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. You may be on the 2s, 1 and 2, and whatever. But that's still you and your musicality. Yeah. Start there, right? And then you start incorporate the movements with it: 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just really start simple, Stacey.
Exactly, because it doesn't happen really overnight, unfortunately. It's not like all of a sudden you hear the beat of the music. It does take people longer, but I have never experienced someone who could not find it. I've had to work with people a lot, instructors a lot when they're trying, but they have found it. And what's interesting is I feel like once they've practiced it and tried to hear it, like you've explained so well, then all of a sudden one day it just clicks.
It just happens.
It just starts to happen. So it just continue to get that effort. And I feel like there's probably some brain science to it. Like all of a sudden, because I've seen instructors just suddenly get it. And I'm like, do you know you were on the beat of the music the entire time? And they're like, what?
Just let them have it. It's like doing a burpee, right? Like, everybody don't know how to break down a burpee right off. But you got to keep at it. You find your footprints, you start finding where your back should be at, you find your core, and the next thing you know, you're exploding. So you just start letting them explode.
Yes, I love it. And the way I think of musicality, actually, while you were explaining it, is it's different if you're in a dentist's office or you're even at a party or a bar and you're just in the environment where the music is playing. Versus once you hit that dance floor, or you do actually go to a place where everyone is moving to the beat of music, just thinking about that change in energy, that's what you're bringing to your class.
Right. Well, you could tell, because I'm a group fitness junkie. Like I love the gym. I really love group fitness. So a group fitness class to me is the end all be all. You can tell when instructors are not teaching, or they won't teach to the music even before they say anything by the volume of the music.
Yes.
So
So
you come,
true.
you come in, and there's just a little beat. We're like, we're gonna be time based today, y'all.
Yeah. You and I walk in. You and I walk in. You're like, can we crank that music up? Be
And like,
quiet.
yeah, you're like, either you're a trainer or
Yeah.
this isn't your jam, which is fine. I've had a lot of good classes. They are more time based, right? Like TRX, for example, they teach you time based or they teach you music based. But you can tell when an instructor is that person is ready to jam or whatever is going to play. I might not like the songs. I might think they're too fast or too slow. But what I do love is, as the participant is, when you get me on that beat, I try a little harder because in my mind, I'm thinking that's my challenge. That is my challenge, right? I met one of our mutual co-workers, friends, Danielle, at a gym recently, and she told me kickboxing. It was MMA boot camp. You see these little skinny arms? Like, I have no boot camp.
No.
I mean, MMA in my arms. Like how skinny my arms are.
Yeah. Oh.
But then he cranked up the music. And the next thing you know, Danielle and I are doing squat jumps in time with the beat. I'm dying. But now I'm like, we got this. And it felt good because now I have somebody next to me that I want to die. She looked like she wanted to die. But this music won't let us do it. Like, we just can't die. Yeah. So
that's what, so true.
Yeah. That's what it feels like as a participant. So that's what the instructor is offering to to the people out there who's coming for this class. Like, they're offering this hidden champion who says, not yet. One more. You got this. I'm getting louder. I'm getting crunk. I'm getting excited. I'm with you. We're in this together. One more. Done. You know, like, it's so that. Good. Oh, again.
I know. Let's go work out.
I am. Actually, I am. I'm going back to the MMA class. I am.
That's awesome. It's so awesome. Well, guys, I really hope you caught all of that, but we went through a lot of information, how to break down and try to understand the music, how to hear the music, how to hear that beat. The importance of it, we broke all of those down. So if we haven't convinced you yet that it's going to not only, just try. It's not only going to help your participants feel more successful, it's going to give you a tool as an instructor to help them find a good pace, help them move together, help that class experience level up, because that's what we're always trying to do. So, yeah, if you have not tried it yet, hopefully we've shown you the value, and she's definitely shown you. It wasn't just talking. It was just show.
I slid out the chair. I really slid out the chair. Like, I had to brace myself.
On down.
And if you're an instructor like me, one more thing. I'm a loud instructor. Like, I yell when I get excited. So having that music behind you gives you the opportunity to yell with it. Like, everybody understands that. You might have to pull the mic down a little bit, but they get.
I love it. I love it.
And then you walk away.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being here. Let us know by subscribing to this video or to this channel if you enjoy these videos. I 100% am going to get Adia back on here, and I think layers is going to be our next chat because it's so important. But she's so amazing, and I so appreciate her being here with me today. And if you like this video, hit that like button as well, and we'll keep making this fun content for you. And catch up with Adia. So where can they find you, Adia? The best places?
Instagram at See Me Wellness. Facebook as this same. And I am finishing it up while I'm getting the website finished up. So we'll be doing luncheon pretty soon.
I love it. So look forward to her website. All right. Keep it up, Adia, and I'll see you later. Thank you again.
Thank you, Stacey. Have a good one.
You too.